Welcome everybody to a new session with the Art of Healthy Retirement. I'm so excited about our guest today, Judy Katz, who has been an amazing career executive and now does some also amazing ghostwriting. She has built another career in her retirement, so she is the perfect person to inspire us today. And we are all about supporting business experts who transform from a career into healthy retirement, or potentially business experts who have retired. And our format is 30 minutes, and we do it on Zoom, posted on my YouTube channel, Nancy Schwartz. And we focus on how our guests are living. And Judy is from New York, so she is living in fashion, gotta say. Or who will be living their ideal retirement in health. And no interview is the same, and this is what I love about interviewing, and it's the joy of the discussion. And we are disrupting the way you think about healthy retirement in real time. Each podcast is educational in content, and we offer inspiration to others by showcasing our guests living life on their own terms. So Judy, welcome to the Art of Healthy Retirement. I feel so blessed that you're here today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your career, Judy, because it truly was an amazing career. And then how did you get from this really gorgeous career into this new business that you're running as a superstar and making other superstars as well?
Well, the pivotal moment was in August 18 years ago. And I was 65 and I had 14 people working for me in Midtown in my PR firm. And I had a 3-bedroom, 3-bath terraced apartment sitting empty all day. And I just was tired of being everyone's Jewish mother. Everybody had a drama every day, and I wasn't doing what I passionately love to do, which is write. So I went to my air-conditioned, wonderful apartment, which I just sold. That's another story. And I was there 40 years. And I asked myself, what can I do where I don't need a whole team around me and I can still do well financially and keep going? And the idea of ghostwriting books came to me. Now, 18 years ago, it wasn't as prolific and common as it is today. So I made a terrible mistake to start out with because I was in the media. AP ran a story, woman of a certain age transitions to ghostwriting, see your life as a book, a movie, and hundreds of people contacted me, hundreds. Which sounds like a good thing, but no. Every one of them said the same thing. When, it said I did it as a business in the article, but they said, pay you? You don't understand. I have this unique story. You can make it a bestseller, get me on Oprah, and then they would throw me part of the lottery I just won for them. So I went to a PR client who was also a good friend, had a Wall Street firm, and I said, you need a book. And she said, why? And I said, because it's the ultimate marketing tool. It opens doors. It literally creates you as an authority. And she made millions with the book. Now, not by selling hundreds of thousands of copies, but by the cover letter we wrote and mailing the book to the CEOs of her targeted companies, and the phone never stopped ringing. And this happened with a number of my book clients. I did 2.5 books a year for 18 years. So it's been over 50 books and I'm still going strong. But I tell people, Nancy, I start out because I don't want any grandiose expectations that I can't meet. And I think it's very important to trust the person, have the right chemistry, and really understand where we're going with this. So I tell them I can't be responsible for how many books are sold, although it's marketing, we can do that, but it's word of mouth, it's the universe. But if you tell me your wish list, what is it you want this book to do for you as a tool, we'll make that happen, and we always do. So some people want higher paying clients. Some people want a global audience. Some people want paid talks. In the case of this book, Angel of the Ghetto, this is a very moving Holocaust story that Sam Solas, who came here with $10 in his pocket and built $100 million business in New York.
Wow.
Stories that he never told anyone. So for him, it wasn't about making money from the book. It was about telling his honest story and leaving a legacy for his children's children and their children. You know, so
that's beautiful. I love that. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, and another book I did with Hadassah Lieberman, she wanted to tell her story. And then another book I did, a husband and wife, had a wonderful consultancy where they work with couples who want to build a business together. And these are just three of, literally 50 plus books. And I'm working on a couple more right now. So I'm really excited. Wow. I look for people with a good story. And very often, the book that people think they might want to write is not the book they should write. So I do believe that everyone has a superpower. My superpower is knowing what book people should write and then helping write it in their voice, like delivering a baby. I'm the book doula.
I love that. How do you when you're working with your clients and you have this years of wisdom, right, from your prior businesses and now,
yeah,
right? How do you know, one, that you want to take the client, right, that this is the right person to work with, because I'm sure you're deluged with opportunities, and then how do you source out and sense, in this example that you gave, that that's not the story, there's another story. How do you know which is the right story for that person?
Sure. Well, let me start with that. That is life lessons. What does this person think they learned in their life? And who do they want to tell those lessons to? And then I also do a lot of research. When somebody tells me they're serious about doing the book, they're going to get a writer for hire agreement from me that spells out the fees, the time frame, what they'll get in each tranche. So, I have a sense of what other books or anything like it out there in the universe so that we can make theirs unique. Yeah. As far as inundated, no. And the reason I'm not inundated is because I'm probably more expensive than a lot of people. The last 3 books I did, I got 100,000, and that's the price of a car, maybe even a down payment on a house. And people do, some people are okay with it. They know that they're going to get back a lot more than that in various ways. But some people tell me that I'm too expensive and that other people are less expensive. And I never argue, because I honestly believe that everyone is entitled to ask for what they think they're worth. And I simply tell people, well, a Timex tells time and a Rolex tells time. Yes. So I think if I had to say my most valuable lesson in life, I would say it's that you should feel you're the Rolex.
Yes.
Or in Guy's case, the Maserati, not the but you should always feel that what you have is unique. And I, as I said, that's my superpower. And I feel privileged to have that gift. There are many areas in life where I'm a dummy. I'm ignorant. And I pay people and I enlist people to help me.
Yes.
I have a trainer who works out, we have a pool in the building, works me out in the pool, works me out on the land. a couple of times a week, you know, I'm happy to pay her because I know I won't do it myself.
Right, right. You need that support and accountability. Absolutely. I love that. How did you find your superpower? Because it is a superpower.
So I was 11 years old and I was reading Guy de Maupassant, the short stories in English, not in French. And I was transported. I've been reading. From age 5, I took out every book in the library. I love to read. But when I read Guy de Maupassant's short stories, he transported me to small towns in France and all kinds of people. And I just said, that power to be able to use words to bring people into another reality. Even now, when I read a compelling book, be it a novel, be it nonfiction, a bomb could go off, hopefully not. But, you know, and I wouldn't even hear it because I'm so engrossed.
Yeah.
In that story and page turning. And that's what I try to do with the books that I write for people. You know, and make them entertaining and compelling and, you know, education.
And how do you shape that for someone? Let's just say somebody comes to you with XYZ. I mean,
how do I work?
Well, but let me just add that, you know, your expertise is so broad, right? I'm just looking at those 3 books that you showed. I mean, they're amazingly different and vast.
They are. All my books are different.
Right, exactly. So how does the process work? Maybe that's what I'm saying. How does the process work in terms of shaping those books? How does that work? Because
one of the reasons I am a ghostwriter is because I am so curious about people.
Yeah.
Of all ages, all ethnicities, races, religions, whatever. I'm just so curious what makes people tick. So I find that it's a privilege to be able to become them. And the way I work is to interview them after doing a lot of research, what other books are like it, something about them, what's their presence online or not, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, I tape them for an hour at a time, sometimes a little over an hour, but it's very intense. It's not like tell me about where you were born. It's very intense. And they tell me their stories. Sometimes I have to give them a homework assignment, give me some more color, some more detail, because it really, a good book is show, not tell. You're not standing on a soapbox. You want to bring people into your world. You know, but yeah, so I interview them and then I take the taped interviews and I create a table of contents with a summary for them of what I think should be in each chapter. And now you have the roadmap for the whole book. That's your roadmap. And that's very helpful. And of course, a book is organic, so it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Maybe chapter 3 becomes chapter 1, chapter 2 becomes 7, et cetera, et cetera. But out it comes. And then I know what to do with it. So you know what it's like? It's like somebody, a recipe, like a chef. You have all the ingredients. And some people have a gift to be able to take various ingredients and make something delicious out of it. That's what I do with these experiences and these words.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that that's a beautiful analogy because being a chef is pretty extraordinary, right? And we all appreciate a good chef, just like we appreciate a good book, fiction or nonfiction.
Well, let me say something about retirement.
Oh, okay, good. Let's talk about retirement.
So in the old days,
yes, the old days.
The old days, a while back, you were forced out of companies at 65.
And still are today, Judy. I mean, there's
and they still do that to people.
Right.
I very fortunate that I worked for myself most of my life, although I was PR director for Madison Square Garden, the March of Dimes, and MS. I worked with McGraw-Hill. I did a lot of other things where I worked with and for people, but early-ish on, I saw their handwriting on the wall. I did not want to be a bureaucrat or a paid person and be dependent on other people. So I started my own business, which, you know, is not pure joy. You have to market yourself, you have to pay bills, you have to hire people, all of the above. You know, nothing is pure. But for me, being an entrepreneur is the only way to go, you know. So at 65, a lot of people retire. At 65, I wasn't even close to retiring, but I wanted to start this new business, ghostwriting, which has been very, very good to me, and I'm thrilled. But now at 82, I'm still going strong, but there's a diminution of the memory. There are things, you know, I'm just not who I was 20 years or 30 years ago. I come from good stock, so I don't take any medications, and I do try to work out and do 10,000 steps a day and all of that. But 82 is 82. It's not 92. It's not 102. Right. And there are many people who live to 90s and hundreds, and you know,
longevity is exploding right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is, no question about it. And you know, the thing is that I wrote I have a blog, and a lot of people read my blog. It's called Celebrity, EIGHTY, Celebrity, which is on silverdisobedience.rocks. You can put that up if you like.
Okay,
but I've written 25 of them. But the last one, one of the last ones that I wrote was about how we know our time of arrival. We know when we're born, but we don't know our time of departure. And do we want to know it? No, nobody, I don't think, wants to know when they're going to die. But the concern is, for many people, maybe the super rich are an exception, you know, am I going to outlive my money? So, you know, one of the reasons I keep working is I want to live a certain lifestyle.
Of course.
Sell my co-op. I did well, knock wood, but you know, if you want to be generous to things you believe in, animal rights, my children, etc. You know, you have to maybe bring in a little bit more, and not, especially living in Manhattan, which is a very, very expensive, you know, place to eat out and to do and travel with car services and do all the things that, to me, make life here worth living.
Yes, I love that. And it's interesting that you talk about that, because I'm writing an article right now, and one of the social calls in America is exactly what you're saying, that people may, depending on their longevity, outlive their, you know, all their asset classes, right? Yeah, the nest egg, exactly as you say. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's and we're also seeing from the statistics that people do want to be engaged, like yourself, right? Who love to do what you do and love the lifestyle that you have built over all these years, and don't necessarily want to just play golf all the time, or just, you know, not do anything, not to be involved. And I think it's also this continual, particularly in literature, which you're really involved in, is this continual sense of learning. And you said the word curiosity, you know, that you're just very curious about humans. And so those are sort of healthy ideas to keep us strong going forward, right? So any other tips that you may have in terms of your health?
Let me just let me be honest with all of you, which I have been up to now. And I'm going to be further honest.
Great.
That I have a 75-inch TV in my living room, and I watch way too much television. and I, you know, but I don't have hobbies other than my, you know, love of my two little chihuahuas. And I introduce all of you to Leah.
Oh, hello,
This is
Leah.
Judy.
What a cutie. What a cutie.
Hello, Leah.
She's on camera.
So anyway, no, but I don't have a lot of, I don't play mahjong. I don't teach, except I will say this. If people have a manuscript and they don't know what to do with it, I do book reports where inexpensively, where I evaluate the book. I tell them what works, what doesn't, and how to fix it. And
that's very useful.
People say that's absolutely game changing.
Yeah.
And and I also do my master edit if somebody has a book they've written and they're pretty close. And then I also get agents and publishers for people, so I do all of that kind of thing, put people on talk shows, and in general, help them to use their book in the right way. Because I have people come to me who've written a book, Nancy, and they say, Judy, I spent 2, 3 years, 4 years of my life writing this thing, and I self-published it. I put it on Amazon, and nobody's buying it. Why? And I say, what did you do to promote and market your book? And they go, market? And I say, well, would you open a retail store, not advertise, and on opening day pray that people come into your store? No. So a book is also a business. And I'm very honest with people because, as I said about superpowers, there's a lot of ignorance around writing and marketing and using a book. This is, not, I'm not bragging because I have all this other ignorance. I don't cook. I don't have a lot of interest, but I do know what it takes. And I tell people from the beginning, in addition to what you might pay someone like me to edit or ghostwrite or promote your book, you really have to put some time and money into PR. Yes. Into the marketing of the book. And also the book has to, unless you get a good publisher, you're going to have to, really, it's all on you. Right. The business. Otherwise, if you don't care how many, but people who come to me want their book to sell, or they want their book to certainly make a difference. Right. In a lot of people's lives.
Right. Well, I think that's a really good point for those business experts who are listening on this podcast to hear that really the book must be defined by you in terms of how you want to place it within the outside world. What do you want to use it for, as you said? And then also putting some power behind that, the PR, the marketing, and it's on you how you want to deliver that to the outside.
The best thing is if people realize that they and focus in on their best audiences. Everybody says, when I say, who do you want to have read your book? Everybody. No. All right. It's not, yes, let's hope a lot of people read it outside of, let's say, your industry. Right. For various reasons, because it's such a compelling story. But, first you have to say, who is my real audience? Who am I talking to if I was sitting with somebody one-on-one? Who is that person? And we kind of tease that out in the beginning. So we know who we're talking to and how. One of the things when I first came back from UC Berkeley, I thought I would get a column on the New York Times because I had a column at Berkeley for 4 years. And I go to the agency and she says to me, with my columns in hand, and she says to me, do you type? So of course I typed on a Remington. At that point, no computers yet, but I got lucky and I got a job at a medical advertising agency, and it just went from there. But I was smart enough to stand outside the men's room every day and tell Harry Henderson, the big guy, I can write. And one of the life lessons that I got from my little bubby, my grandmother. She said, Judy, darling, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
And I think that's a profound, I live by that. If you want something, ask for it. Don't be afraid. Life is too short. People are not mind readers. You know, ask for what you want and you just may get it. And you have nothing to lose.
No, that's beautiful. So as we come to our close, this has gone way too quickly, Judy. We have to have you back, definitely.
Oh, I'd love it.
Which would be fabulous for our listeners. Tell us in closing, what is the most magnificent event that has occurred in your life to date?
Well, there are many magnificent events in my life. One that stands out is when a rabbi that I'm very friendly with asked me if I would date a 98-year-old man. And I said, you know, a 98-year-old who wants to date? And he said he wants to get remarried. And that's how I met Jerry Siegel. And I had only 4 months with him. He died 7 weeks shy of his 99th birthday. But in that time, he was as sharp as anybody, a fraction of his age. And he showed me, and we traveled quite a bit, and you know, he had mansions and private jets and all that. But so it was another world. But what he showed me was age is just a number. That's why I give people permission to be proud of their age by telling them I'm 82. Yeah. You know, and they're like, no. Well, I think I look my age, but you know what? There are people in their 50s and 60s who are little wrinkled up crab apples who have given up on life. So it really is very individual, you know, how you approach your later years. Yes, I love that. I love that so much. And it's very true. We can have an old toddler and we can have a very young, very mature elder. So yeah, I love that so much. So great. So Judy, where can people who want to contact you, what's the best avenue? And we'll put all these notes in the show notes. Please, if anybody, you know, no obligation. It's jkatz, K-A-T-Z, jkatzcreative @gmail. jkatzcreative@gmail.com. I have a website. It's a long word, but it's katzcreativebooksandmedia.com, which shows all my books and tells some stories about me and explains a lot. So that's katzcreativebooksandmedia.com, or email me at jkatzcreative@gmail. That's it. Well, thank you, Judy. We're so blessed to have had you today. And thank you so much for your wise wisdom. And I loved hearing about the creative space of book ghosting and helping people certainly spread their story with wise, really business expertise behind how to position it in the marketplace. And that's really your expertise, which is extraordinary. So until the next episode, The Art of Healthy Retirement, thank you, Judy, so very much. And have a great day, everyone. Thank you.